We are one day away from New York Jets football being back. Let's talk about 7 players to watch during the Hall of Fame game. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo. My name is Tigo, and today we're going to be talking about 7 players to keep a special eye on during the Hall of Fame game, just so that we can see these players' developments and what their possible role for the New York Jets can be. Of course, this list is going to be littered with the rookies, but I tried to make sure that it wasn't just only rookies. And you can see that from the player at the top of this list, someone that I know that I will be paying close attention to when it comes down to the Hall of Fame game, because I want to see how he's progressing under Aaron Rodgers, and that's, of course, Zach Wilson. We all know that Zach Wilson is entrenched as QB2 for this football team. There's no denying that. He's going to be quarterback 2. He's going to win that job. Tim Boyle and Chris Streveler, while great people and great humans and probably good football players, aren't going to be taking that job away from Zach Wilson, and neither should they. But seeing how he's progressed, being the mentee to Aaron Rodgers' mentorship, is really going to be telling about his growth and his progression, and we've seen some of that happen at training camp already. So very interesting to see what he's going to look like when he's not facing the New York Jets defense. The second player, again, another draft pick for the New York Jets that we're going to have to keep an eye on, is Mekhi Becton. Not a rookie, but obviously he's going to be on a limited snap count. We heard that from Robert Saleh, playing 20 to 25 snaps tomorrow. But still, it's very important to see, 1, is he on the left side or is he on the right side? And 2, how does he perform in the Hall of Fame game? We know that he's not going to be facing the best of edge rushers or defensive tackles or defensive linemen in general. That being said, with Mekhi Becton's level of talent, he should absolutely, in his limited snap count, dominate the competition. And if he doesn't, well, why not? It is one of those things. By playing Mekhi Becton and by Mekhi Becton going out there, he is taking a risk, because if something doesn't look good against 2s and 3s, that's a problem for Mekhi Becton, who is trying to compete for a starting position. The next player on the list is a guy that I made, let's just say, waves in the Jets community yesterday by saying that he might have an opportunity to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. If you haven't seen that video, go and watch that one and let me know what you think about my super hot fire take in the comment section of that video. But we're obviously talking about Jason Brownlee, the undrafted free agent wide receiver. I think that he is a lock to be wide receiver 6 for this football team. I don't think that it's even in question. And if that is the case, if he is going to be wide receiver 6 for this football team, again, seeing how he performs in an NFL level game against NFL talent, and even if it's 2s and 3s, is going to be interesting. I think that Jason Brownlee has incredible potential and has the opportunity to skyrocket up the depth chart with continued success and continued great performances, and that all starts with his first competition outside of Jets training camp. Moving on, one of the players that I'm really excited to see, because we haven't really seen him in training camp because he's been running exclusively with the 3s, is second-round pick Joe Tippmann. We've heard from Joe Tippmann about the struggles of catching up to the NFL game and that aspect of being a center and all of those things. And while it seems like he's thoroughly entrenched as the backup center, it is going to be important to see what does he look like on the field, especially when he's taking and giving snaps to Zach Wilson, and what is his protection? And again, Joe Tippmann was a second-round pick, someone who was slated by a lot of Jets fans to be the starting center over Connor McGovern. And while he wasn't and isn't being given that opportunity, it will be nice to see him on the field against NFL competition tomorrow. The next player, another rookie, is going to be Will McDonald IV. We know that Will McDonald IV, our first round pick, is going to be used in a rotational role for the New York Jets. And his opportunity to be a player in a big way is going to be limited, especially with the New York Jets defensive line room probably being the deepest edge room in all of the NFL, probably the deepest defensive line room in all of the NFL. But with a limited snap count and with a limited ability to just play snaps, it does help the fact that we are going to see him in the Hall of Fame game, especially because he has been absolutely dominating at every aspect during training camp. And that's huge for the New York Jets and does give us a lot to look forward to in this player. We all know that Will McDonald is going to need to put on weight and strength, something that Jermaine Johnson did last year, and Jermaine Johnson is posed for an explosive year too. Will McDonald might be in that same boat as Jermaine Johnson, as a guy who in year one is going to be a great rotational piece, but is going to explode into year two once he gets his body up to NFL standards. And it's going to be nice to see him going up against some NFL level backups when it comes to the tackle position. The next player that for me is super interesting is going to be the rookie linebacker, Zaire Barnes. We took Zaire Barnes last year in the draft in the 6th round with the expectation that he was really only going to be a special teams contributor in my eyes as a Hamza Nasruddin replacement, because we can't really trust Hamza to stay healthy. And the idea was probably to have or bring in a veteran linebacker or have Chuck Clark play that safety linebacker hybrid role that he kind of played with the Baltimore Ravens. Well, when Chuck Clark went down, the New York Jets had an opportunity to readdress the safety linebacker hybrid role, and instead we took Adrian Amos, a guy who tends to slot out more as a free safety than a hybrid safety linebacker. That being said, I also think that Zaire Barnes has done an incredible job at training camp and has impressed the coaching staff enough to say, you know what, we feel comfortable with this kid being linebacker 4 in a position where maybe we have an injury. And remember that the New York Jets run a ton of 2 linebacker sets. We run nickel almost more than anybody in the NFL. So we really only run 2 linebackers at a time. So we are a couple of injuries away from seeing Zaire Barnes on the field, but it would be nice to see him in an NFL game where he has been given that opportunity and see how he stacks up against competition at the NFL level. And last but not least, the last player that we're going to cheat is I'm going to be cheating a little bit, and that's the entire running back room minus Breece Hall. I have no idea which running backs are going to be getting reps during the Hall of Fame game, whether Michael Carter, Zonovan Knight, Israel Abanikanda, Travis Dye, Jamari Crockett. We have no idea which one of the guys are going to be getting a large workload. We have no idea which guys are taking snaps, who's not dressing, so on and so forth. But every single running back in the running back room for the New York Jets has a legitimate opportunity of making this roster or being a productive member of this football team moving forward, especially when we look at the perceived roster locks for the football team being Breece Hall, Zonovan Knight, and Israel Abanikanda. Who is going to take that 4th running back spot? Travis Dye, the undrafted free agent out of USC, is having a phenomenal camp. Michael Carter is a player that has history with the New York Jets of being successful but hasn't done a ton of stuff there. We have no idea what's going to happen with this running back room, and that's why I'm going to be paying so much attention to what's going to be happening in the running back room. Let me know what players you guys are going to be keeping an eye on in tomorrow's Hall of Fame game. I am so excited that football is back. And absolutely, last but not least, go Jets.